What's going on, everybody? This is Clarence Jr. breaking down the Bulldogs. We are here because the 2025 football season is coming to a close this Saturday with the CIAA Championship game in Durham, North Carolina between the Virginia Union Panthers and the Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls. Now, we're going to go through a lot in terms of these two teams. We're going to really break this thing down. And at the end, I'm going to give what I think will probably be the most accurate prediction of the championship game. And this is going to happen in real time because I lied to you not. As of right now, I have no idea who I think will win. I have no idea of a score. I'm going to arrive at that conclusion in real time. As we go through all this information, that's when I'll make a decision. All right? So we're going to get straight to it because it's a lot to cover. Let's start with, what should we start with? Should we start with the records, the stats, because it's a lot to get into. Let's start with the coaches and their mindset and the players and what they're saying going into the game. And then we'll go from there to the schedules, then the stats, then the head-to-head matchup, and so forth and so on. So let's start right here. This is Dr. Alvin Parker's press conference following the season ender at home versus Virginia State. And we're going to jump in at the part where they're talking about the upcoming CIAA Championship game. Let's see what he has to say.
Coach Parker, I'm John O'Connor from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Thanks for being there. When you think of that first J.C. Smith game, what pops in your head?
We won. I mean, that's the kind of the thing right there that we felt good about because, last year those guys beat us. So I think, getting a chance to win that game in the regular season, definitely gives you a level of confidence. But, you can't look, much further than your own self, John, because, the last 2 years, as far as the team that we met in the championship, we lost to both of those guys in the regular season, and got a chance to get back to the championship and win that game. So, all of those cliches going to be said this week and things like that. So it's our job to make sure that we prepare in a manner that, they're a new team, we're a new team. And we got to go in here and do what we got to do in a championship type game.
Hey, if I could follow up by asking the last coach to win back-to-back in consecutive years for CIAA championships is Joe Taylor in the mid-90s. Obviously, he's your boss. I wonder how much counsel you seek from him, and typically, what is it about?
Most of the time, he kind of tells you just to kind of, worry about the next game. That's been kind of the precedence we set this season. I think, this year's been a little different with this team. They haven't really talked championship a lot. They just kind of talk a lot of next game type of stuff. In the years past, those guys was like championship or bust type of, mentalities. These guys are a little different. We have a few new guys and a few guys that it's their first time kind of, getting as much playing time and kind of doing this thing like we're doing now. So those guys kind of take it week by week. And that's kind of what Coach Taylor is explaining to me that they did in some of those years that, they were able to, have some of those great teams that were able to put together 3 championships back to back to back. So he's done it. Coach Bailey did it here in the 80s. So it's a few guys that have done it, but it's not often done. So, we just kept that mentality.
I know somebody that did it fairly recently, but we don't got to talk about that.
Thank you.
What's happening, Coach or Dr. Parker? Is Don Box the Road? How you doing?
Don, how you doing?
Doing good. Talk about Alvin Durham, the quarterback for Johnson C. Smith, and some of the challenges that he presents.
He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, without a shadow of a doubt. I think what he's done is put that team on his back in a lot of instances and kind of carried them to where they are right now. Those guys are 9-1. That's a heck of a season. And when you're playing that well, it starts with the trigger man. So hats off to what Coach Flowers is doing with them.
Okay, we don't got to play too much of that. Let's go ahead over to, because I saw that Johnson C. Smith did some press as well leading up to this game. So let's go ahead and check out a little bit of that, and then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes. Let's see. Here we go.
Virginia Union, the 1 seed. You lost to them earlier this year, I think 28-10. What do you take away from that game that's going to help you toward Saturday?
Like I said, every game is never you live and you learn. So when we come to this game, we just the little mental mistakes we can't hurt ourselves. Virginia, we know it's a great team. Like the back-to-back champions, so they're gonna come prepared. We just gotta make sure we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, honestly.
Like DeAndre said, they're a good team, and we have to come in with that mindset. We can't have a lot of mental errors. We have to finish moments well. We have to win moments well. We have to come together as a team. We have to be most close-knit as we've ever been.
What position do you play, Joe?
Defensive end.
Defensive end. So talk to me a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. How good is that team? Y'all are good.
I love my guys. I love my guys. From defensive line to our defensive backs, it's trust, it's love, it's hustle, it's respect. All parts of defense.
DeAndre, what position?
I play receiver.
Wide receiver. So
Yes,
let's talk about the offensive side. Talk about your quarterback and his play a little bit.
With the whole offense, it's very unselfish. So with any player on the offense, say if an O-line get a pancake, quarterback throws a good ball, running back, receiver make a play, we all cheering for each other. It's just
All right, okay. It's not a lot there. Okay, let's get into some of the good stuff. Let's start with the two schedules from both of these teams from this particular season. We'll start with Johnson C. Smith. Well, no, we'll start with Virginia Union, apparently. Hold on, what's this? Oh, that's from the game. We're not at that part yet. We'll talk about because they did play this year, and Virginia Union won at Virginia Union, but we're not at that part. Let's go. Let's see. There we go. All right. Start with Johnson C. Smith. So, Golden Bulls went 9-1 this year, 6-1 in the conference, 4-0 at home. They finished the season on a 6-game win streak. So after that loss at Union, they won every game after that. They started off neutral site, demolishing Morehouse, beat Valdosta State at home. Close game, but a win versus Elizabeth City State. Once again, the loss to Union. Demolished Bluefield, beat Virginia State by 11, destroyed Shaw, blew out Winston-Salem State, won a close game at Fayetteville State. That was a big game because if they would have lost that game, they might not have made the championship, but they got that one. And then they won the Commemorative Classic at home versus Livingstone in a fairly tight competition. All right? That was their schedule. Once again, 9-1, the only loss coming to Virginia Union. They had an out-of-conference game versus Morehouse and an out-of-conference game versus Valdosta State. So then, but let's dive a little deeper. Let's look at points scored. 45, 28, 21, 28, 69, 31, 52, 52, 17, 26. Okay. So that was them. Let's go ahead and look at Virginia Union and their schedule. Both these teams had identical records. The only difference is Virginia Union once again beat Johnson C. Smith at Virginia Union. So Union also went 9-1. They played Miles at a neutral site. Then they went to Edward Waters. Then, of course, they won. Their matchup was in week 3. And there was a night game at Virginia Union. Beat Shaw, beat Winston-Salem State, Elizabeth City State, Lincoln, Bowie, Bluefield State, put 70 on them. 14-3 versus, Virginia State at home in the biggest rivalry game. So you look at their point totals, 45, 38, 28, 59, 44, 37, 66, 24, 70, 14. So, the second lowest point total came. It's not about that. All right, but okay, let's look at that. They have a lot of common opponents. Both teams played Shaw and blew them out. Both teams played Winston-Salem State. JCSU won that game a little more convincingly. Both teams played Elizabeth City State. Union won that game a little more convincingly. Both teams played Bluefield. The margins for both of those games, I think, were pretty similar. And both teams played Virginia State. The margin was exactly the same, 11 points. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's look at, before we get into the individual matchup, let's look at the stats for the year. We're going to go here. So for the season, Virginia Union has the number one offense in the conference. They're scoring 43 points a game. And they have the second best defense, only giving up 14 points a game. They score 43 and give up 14. They have scored 47 total touchdowns, 10 more than Johnson C. Smith, who is the second best offense. They've scored 342 points. Once again, they give up 14 a game. Johnson C. Smith is right underneath them at 18 points a game. So Virginia Union scores 8 more points than Johnson C. Smith on average, and they give up 4 points less. So that's a 12-point difference. 12-point difference. However, you do have to factor in that Virginia's Union, they did play Bluefield State and Lincoln in the same year. And so it's like, that's 2 games right there that you can expect to score 40, 50, 60 points. When you play in Bluefield State and Lincoln in the same season, and Shaw. So those 3 games, and then Miles to start the season. So it's really those 4 games against, very bad teams where you score 40, 50 plus that kind of boosts up your total points per game average. Whereas if you look at Johnson C. Smith, they also scored 50 and 60 versus Shaw and Bluefield. Now they didn't play Lincoln, so there's that. But they did play Morehouse, but Morehouse had closed the season pretty okay. So there's that. But then we have to move on to, is it time to get into the individual matchup yet? No, we'll get into, let's look at season numbers. Then we'll get into the individual matchup. So we know that Virginia Union has the number 1 offense in the conference and the number 2 defense. Johnson C. Smith has the number 2 offense and the number 3 defense. But let's look at the actual statistics for each school. So let's go here. Johnson C. Smith. We're going to look at statistics and really break this down. All right. So Johnson C. Smith, once again, score 35, only give up 17. But let's look a little deeper. They've given up 46 rushing first downs the entire season, 46 in 10 games. They have more passing first downs than rushing by 22. They've given up 28 first downs due to penalty. That's okay. But they've only given up 142 first downs the entire season. They have rushed for a total of 1,700 yards on the year and given up 1,300. That's not okay. They only rush for 150 yards a game and they give up just a little over 100. 23 rushing touchdowns, only giving up 9 in 10 games. Okay. Now passing, they pass for 250 yards a game and they throw in another 21 passing touchdowns. And they have 2,500 passing yards. Okay. They average 407 yards of offense a game. They've scored 48 total touchdowns in 10 games, only giving up 21, which is about 2 touchdowns a game. On the season, they're about 50% on third down and 50% on fourth down. They've only fumbled the ball 5 times the entire season, only lost 1. Where's time of possession? Where is time of possession? Here we go. So they possess the ball about 9 minutes longer than their opponents. Now let's look at interceptions. So they have 1 fumble on the season, and then interceptions, they have 9. So 10 total turnovers on the year. That's about 1 a game. Okay. But let's look at individual stats. So rushing. Main guy is Bobby Smith with 900 yards and 9 touchdowns. They have another guy, the quarterback, with another 9 rushing touchdowns off of 224 yards. Then they have another guy. So the main guy is Bobby Smith. He's just under 1,000 yards on the season. He has 9 touchdowns. Then we go to passing. Kelvin Durham. Completion percentage at 66%, 2,400 passing yards, 20 passing touchdowns. So he has 20 passing touchdowns and 9 rush. So about 30 touchdowns on the season at the QB position. Okay. Then you have 9 interceptions as a team, but he only has 7 interceptions. Okay. So that does make a difference. Okay. Then receiving. Okay, let's see. They got 3 guys with 5 or more touchdowns. 2 guys with over 600 yards. 2 guys with over 40 catches. Okay. And okay. Let's look at defense. All right. Tackles for loss. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 guys with at least 5 tackles for loss. 8. With at least 4 tackles for loss. My bad. Okay. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. About 14 guys that have at least 1 sack on the season. Okay. So that's JCSU. Now let's go ahead over here and look at Virginia Union. Pull up these VUU stats. There we go. All right. Once again, 43 points a game. They give up 16. They have 161 rushing first downs on the year, but they only have 59 passing first downs in 10 games. Their opponents have been given 23 first downs due to penalty. Okay. JCSU had about 1,700 total rushing yards. Virginia Union has 3,300 total rushing yards. They rush for over 319 yards a game. They have 40 rushing touchdowns on the season, 40 in 10 games. That's 4 rushing touchdowns a game. Now, let's look at the passing numbers, though. 162 passing yards a game, 17 passing touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. 1,600 total passing yards for the season. 480 yards a game. They give up 288. Okay. 58 total touchdowns on the year. Let's see. 91 penalty yards a game. That's a lot. They have 94 penalties on the season. That's almost. Hold on, that can't be right. 10 games. So hold on. If they had 100 penalties in 10, that'd be 10 penalties. So they about 9 penalties a game. That's a problem. That's a problem. Time of possession is not what you would think it would be for a team that is so run heavy. They only win time of possession by 3 minutes versus 8 minutes for JCSU. 47% on third down, but 90 on fourth. Now here's another issue. 15 fumbles, 7 loss. We're going to come back to that. We'll get back to that. All right. Now let's look at the individual. The engine of the team, Curtis Allen. 2,096 yards, 8 yards a carry, 27 touchdowns, 209 yards a game. Then you have the quarterback. 391 yards, 33 rushing yards a game, and 6 rushing touchdowns. Let's look at passing. 83 total completions for the season. 6 interceptions. 57% pass completions. 1,400 total passing yards and 14 touchdowns. So it's almost a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Okay. 145 passing yards a game. Okay. Then we go to receiving. Nobody with 30 catches on the roster. Highest amount is okay. So we see. Okay, all right. That's pretty good. Okay, that's interesting. I'm kind of okay. I told you I'm a pick a winner in real time after looking at all the stuff we got going on here. All right, so now we'll actually look at the individual. We'll look at the matchup that they had. Before we look at some of the footage, we'll look at the stats from that game. All right. JC, first down's pretty much even. Obviously, one team had 6 more rushing first downs. The other team had 6 more passing first downs. Okay, as you would expect. They did hold Union to 200 total rushing yards, which is a win versus them. They got 100 rushing yards themselves. The problem was the 4 rushing touchdowns. 5 yards a carry. That's, versus Union, you did pretty well. They had 193 passing yards, but they did have an interception. And 193 on 35 attempts is not good. But look at this. Union had 5 completions in the entire game. 5 total completions. Union had about 40 more yards of total offense. 40 more yards of total offense with 14 less plays. But we see the recurring theme, fumbles by Union. Both teams had over 10 penalties in this game. Goodness gracious. All right. So let's see. Union won time of possession in this game JCSU won time of possession by 3 minutes. They were 5 of 13 on third and fourth down. Union was even worse at 2 of 9. But 4 red zone possessions, 4 touchdowns. Okay. Let's look at individual for this particular game. Calvin Durham, 20 of 35, 193, no touchdowns, and interception, sacked 4 times. RJ Rosales, 5 completions for 136 yards. This is a problem right here. We'll get into that. Okay. Bobby Smith, 54 rushing yards, no touchdowns. Average 9 yards a carry, though. Probably should have gave it to him a little bit more. Curtis Allen. That was actually contained. You look at it, he had 108 yards on the game, but 4 touchdowns, though. That's the issue. His longest run was only 17 yards, but you let RJ Rosales run for 63 yards. That's the problem. That's what hurt. I'm seeing what happened. That's the issue. Rosales. They contain Curtis Allen, but you let the quarterback get 136 passing yards on 5 completions, and you let him get another 63 yards rushing. That was the issue. You let him get some big plays, some chunk plays, and even though you contain Allen, you get him in the red zone, he can find a way to get into the end zone 4 times, which is what happened. Okay. Brevi Caldwell, 8 catches for 94 yards. DeAndre Proctor, 7 catches for 75 yards. Union, we don't got to talk about that. We don't got to talk about that. Okay. Okay, interesting. Now, let's look at, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to look at some of this game. What happened? How did Union win this game? What jumps out to you about this game? And then we're going to get into a pick. We done looked at the season stats, the individual stats, the stats from the matchup. Now let's look at some footage from the actual Week 3 matchup itself.
An 86-yard 2-touchdown performance for the Panthers. We're nearly set to kick away here from Hovey Field. Johnson C. Smith will kick it to Union to begin us off. And the punt will be from Lucas Smolin. The London native gets it all the way down. On the receiving end for Union, finds the edge, and this is a big one. Union gets it down. He's still going. What a return. No flags on the field. Union gets it going, taking it back to the house.
You see, that's the problem. See, some of you probably already knew this happened. You already saw this game. I didn't see this game because when this game was going on, I was traveling back from Livingstone. So I didn't see this game, but okay. I don't know if it stood or not. We're going to see.
With the return, showing off why he was preseason all-conference.
Open up the game with a kick.
Amidst all the celebration, they are going to rule. He stepped out at the 37-yard line. The fans here in attendance, not a fan of that call. He was close. He had to tightrope it.
That's still a big
tightrope it as well as he thought he could. And so Union will set up shop on Johnson C. Smith's 37-yard line.
That's a big play to start the game.
Fantastic here to start 2025. He gets it going with a rush for about a 4-yard gain. RJ Rosales out of the shotgun. It'll set up 2nd and 6. Curtis Allen to his right. Johnson C. Smith showing blitz. Latrey Bass comes in. RJ Rosales points him out, gets it all reset up. Snap comes. They're going to hand it right back off to Curtis Allen. He rumbles for another 4. It's going to make it 3rd and short.
Hey, 4 times 3 is 12 yards. That's a first down. So, and why you giving them a big play? All they need is 4 yards here, 4 yards there. Okay. They're going to hand this off.
Here at Union was a standout running back. And
for sure.
The way Jada Byers last year was one of the top running backs in all of Division II, and Curtis Allen has kind of taken that from him this season. Although he is stuffed there, it is a scrum of Golden Bulls does not let Curtis Allen get the necessary
yardage. Down, they'll still go for it, even if you stop them on 3rd. So they're going to run the ball, and they're going to keep running it.
The play call is going to come in.
That kick return that hurt him.
Couple substitutions being made on the Johnson C. Smith side as it sets up a 4th and short, 4th and maybe a yard.
Because if you cover the kick properly, now it's 4th down over the right on their territory.
Right there, Curtis Allen is stuffed again. I don't think he got the necessary yardage. It's going to depend on a spot. Very close here. Union with the aggressive decision to go for it on 4th and short in the Johnson C. Smith territory. And they are going to say he did not get it. He needed a full yard. He got a half a yard. And it's going to be 1st down.
I didn't hurt him too much.
6'3", 215, redshirt senior. Transferred in from Fort Valley State. He's looking to pass, goes here near sideline, was looking for Brevin Caldwell. Preseason All-American. Avante George in motion. He's looking there, dumps it off short to Bobby Smith, who gets blown up in defense. That allows 42% of third downs to be converted against him. Whistle blown. They're going to say delay of game on the offense. Move him back 5 yards.
Unforced error. Okay.
Durham gets away from the pressure for the moment, jumps it off, and a connection good enough for the first down. Jordan Black on the receiving end of that.
Oh, another mistake. Lots of mistakes early.
Excuse me. That has to get out and run with it. He gets pushed out of bounds, does not even get back to the original line of scrimmage. A trio of Panthers are there to force him out, and it's going to bring out the punting unit. Lucas Smolin, the London native, goes back to Zaire Tart, and he gets met. The first one there. Clinton Riley. And possession.
Let's look at the line and see how this goes.
At one point down 14 with under 16 minutes left. He keeps it on that one, and he gets held up by big number 97, Stenny Joseph. Well, Rosales had just 171 yards, but a large portion of those came in the final 6 minutes of that game, connecting with Jeremiah Francis on 2 touchdowns and really powered that Union offense back into it, especially when Curtis Allen went out of the game for a couple of plays, a couple of drives, really, as he got banged up. Good connection, finds Ricky Key Jr. He makes a couple of Golden Bulls miss and picks up enough for the first down. Ricky Key Jr., the Newport News native. They'll actually rule that on Christian Solomon. It looks like the way down to the 36-yard line. Jr. An offensive line, big reason why Curtis Allen has been feasting to start 2025. Curtis Allen, he ranks first in the CIAA in yards per carry, total rush touchdowns, total yards, and yards per game. You see why there, right up the middle. Curtis Allen, big-time gain. Brings it all the way down. Yards per carry. Rosales drops back, looking for Key in the end zone. He nearly pulled that down with one hand, but just dropped it at the last second. Incomplete. With the ball set up on the 37. Rosales out of the shotgun. Good protection, but he has to roll out here near side. Just dumps it off. A dangerous pass. Trying to get it over the outstretched hands of Vincent.
I ain't gonna lie. A lot of these JCSU boys, they just look bigger than a lot of these Union guys.
He's kind of the anchor there in the middle of the field.
They're eating weights up
Defensive
there.
Coordinator Barry Tripp's 4-2-5 defense. They've got the 4 down defensive linemen, 2 backers. 5 guys.
I ain't
in
gonna lie.
And Hill's
in that weight room
for
for
has to make sure that the middle of the field is accounted for. 2 guys in the A-gap. Johnson C. Smith showing blitz on 3rd and long. Snap comes back, and here they come. The Golden Bulls get to R.J. Rosales. A massive sack. Number 27, Quavarius Crouch. He didn't play last game against Elizabeth City State. Slows up at the 5-yard line. Deciding not to go for it was Brian Lane, and that may have cost him. As the 2-side switch. We'll quickly step aside. I'll be back with more Union football.
Well, what happened? Okay, punt.
Punt's going to go, bounces, and a perfectly placed punt.
All right.
I'm most excited.
Pinned them deep.
It's Christian Aiken gets it out to what looks like they're going to say the 10. Excuse me, the 15. That'll be enough for a first down for Johnson C. Smith. Smart decision from Kelvin Durham. Had the option to either give it to Bobby Smith, the redshirt freshman, or pull it and keep it himself. He made the decision at the very last second. But Durham used his legs, made Union pay for their over-aggression. And now with a little extra space, the Golden Bulls offense have an opportunity. Bobby Smith goes in motion, lines up in the backfield next to Durham. Pulls the handoff and finds Caldwell there on the far side. He gets thrown down by Quincy Jefferson, the Varina High School product. Caldwell on the far side, and he's roped down. He gets pulled back, and that's going to bring up 4th down as that tackle is made by Zachary Weaver.
Let's see.
Brings up 3rd and short for the Golden Bulls.
What are they doing on 3rd and short?
Durham keeps it himself, tries to run for the first down. He gets pulled back, and that's going to. No return. The ball will just slowly stop its roll at the 35-yard line. Snap comes. Rosales puts it in the gut of Curtis Allen, and he gets stuffed at the last season for the Golden Bulls. As Rosales out of the shotgun, hands it off to Allen again. He makes the first defender miss. He can't make the second defender miss, and Elijah Wilson gets the tackle. But there is a flag on the field, far sideline. As our officials for today's game, Derek Hatton, the down judge, Christopher Doval, umpire Warren Smith, our line judge is Sean Sherry, field judge Frank Trevino, side judge Jeff Pratt, and our back
And the
judge Patrick
penalty.
Smith.
Okay. What just happened?
And that'll bring up 2nd and 14. Rosales out of the shotgun, has to step up, avoiding the pressures, looking for Key down the field. He connects. Big time gain for the Union offense.
Okay, it's a lucky play, but okay, it happens.
Rosales went deep down the middle of the field, nearly paid for it, with just about a minute and a half remaining in the first quarter. They're going to say ball on the 9-yard line. Makes it 2nd and 4. Johnson C. Smith brings the blitz, so they're going to hand it off to Curtis Allen up the middle. He just wills himself, keeps the legs moving, brings it inside the 5-yard line. And Crouch will be the one to get credited with the tackle. That appears to be Joseph Rounds needing some help up. Adrian Crespin the one to, and he can't connect. That looked like Cooper would have been the first catch of the season for him. However, he just could not get there, could not have the hands necessary to pull it down. So with 23 seconds left, it's going to be 3rd and 4. Excuse me, 2nd down and 4. Goal to go situation.
I'm not gonna watch the whole thing, but I'm looking at, I gotta
lined up alongside
watch a
Hines.
nice piece of it, just
Johnson
make a
Smith
prediction.
out of the shotgun, and a flag will be thrown right at the snap.
Another penalty? Or did they call a timeout?
Before the flag, though, it'll be a timeout.
So they're about to get a delay of game. Okay.
That makes it 2nd and 4. Back out of that. Rosales hands it off. Curtis Allen right up the middle, barreling his way in. Touchdown for Union. They strike first here in the final seconds of the first quarter. Myers' kick is up, and
I think I'm reaching a conclusion. I'm gonna watch a little bit more.
in Hubby Stadium, Linear Field on the campus of Virginia Union University. A 7-0 lead for the Panthers with 17 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Button this one away. Brady Myers kicks it deep. He's just going to pooch it, actually, right into the waiting hands of Caden Bell McKeithen. So Union's band coming alive as their Panthers hold a 7-0 advantage over Johnson C. Smith's, who offense has sputtered a little bit here. It's a Johnson C. Smith offense this season that scores just about 31 points per game, averages just over 400 yards of total offense. That ranks Kelvin Durham, the redshirt senior quarterback, in the backfield in the shotgun formation. Bobby Smith is his running back. Coming up showing blitz, it's going to be Jefferson off the edge. And a trio of Panthers stuff Bobby Smith. Relationship helped them kind of forge something that went through the recruiting process. We'll finish. Durham in that first quarter had 3 rushes, led all Golden Bulls with 23 yards. He went 3 of 4 through the air, 10 yards as well. And he's starting this one off with a completion far side to Brevin Caldwell. Caldwell's a name that I think Golden Bulls fans are very excited to have back in the lineup today. The preseason HBCU All-American, the preseason All-Conference selection, the All-CIAA first-team member a year ago, missed the first 3 games of the year battling through an injury, and now he's back, ready to go. This is a guy that had 1,090 receiving yards last season, 8 touchdowns. In his career, 2,208 of the season. Going to be 2nd and 10. He looks here near side, decides to pull it down and run with it, finds a little green grass to that far sideline, gets pushed out, and that's enough for a Golden Bulls first down. I was talking with head coach Maurice Flowers coming into the week, and he said, 3 rush touchdowns to Kelvin Durham. So he goes out that far as Johnson C. Smith. And his quarterback coach, Darius Jackson, who's the current quarterback coach at Johnson C. Smith, was the starter ahead of Kelvin early on in Kelvin's career. As he's looking deep, will just go over the outstretched hands of Quincy Jefferson, the intended target.
Oh, yeah, I've seen enough. All right, so after taking everything into consideration, looking at everything, I'm ready to make a prediction. Saturday, and I hope I see some of you guys there, man. Let's chop it up. But Saturday, Johnson C. Smith is going to win their first CIAA championship since, I believe, either 68 or 69, one of those two. I know it was in the late 1960s, was JCSU's last and only football championship. Well, Saturday, JCSU is going to capture their second football CIAA championship. I think Kevin Durham is going to have time to pass. He's going to connect with receivers, and he's going to be a threat with his legs. I think Bobby Smith is going to have a solid game. I think RJ Rosales is the weakest link on both of the two teams. And he's going to wind up hurting Virginia Union. Also, I don't think Virginia Union's secondary is all that impressive. And I think Johnson C. Smith is going to have a time with that secondary. Curtis Allen will have a solid game, but Curtis Allen is going to put the football on the ground in this game. He's a very strong runner, and once he gets in full stride, good luck trying to catch him or get him down. But once again, Curtis Allen has a habit of putting the football on the ground. And he's going to put the football on the ground in this game. Coach Flowers has gotten over the hump, winning big games, getting to the championship game. They're going to clean up some of the issues in terms of the big kick returns and some of the penalties. Johnson C. Smith is going to win this game convincingly. And I already know what y'all saying. No, this is not any VUU hate. Shout out to VUU. I don't have nothing against them. I'm just being real with you. In my personal opinion, Johnson C. Smith is going to win this game in a convincing manner. So there you have it. I'll give you a score, matter of fact. The CIAA championship is going to go like this. Johnson C. Smith scores Johnson C. Smith wins the championship, let's say 27-17. So they win by 10 points. I'll take Johnson C. Smith by a score of 27-17. Curtis Allen rushes for about $180. I'll give him 2 touchdowns and 1 lost fumble. RJ Rosales, less than 150 passing yards, 2 interceptions. They have 3 turnovers in this game and 9 penalties. And once again, they lose convincingly to Johnson C. Smith. That's my prediction. So there you have it. We'll see who's right and we'll see who's wrong, but I'm rolling with JCSU in this game.